Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Golden Ratio Podcast. I am Jen, GR Mom, joined as always by GR Dad.
All right.
How's it going, GR Dad?
Good.
Excellent, excellent. The cocktail of the week is the Island Sunrise.
It looks like a sunrise. It looks good.
Yeah, it's a pretty cocktail.
I figured out why Brody's anxious.
Why?
I just saw some lightning.
Oh, damn.
He's got some kind of perception.
So,
Because Remy's still sleeping.
the Island Sunrise, which we'll need a few of if it's going to thunder tonight, is normally made with white rum. I, of course, made it with coconut rum, cream of coconut, pineapple juice, and orange juice. You shake that all together, and then you put a little, like, bloop of grenadine in it, and then it sinks to the bottom, and it makes that nice ombre sunrise
It's
effect.
an ombre. It gets darker on the bottom or more vivid. It's really nice.
Redder on the bottom.
Delicious.
It's tasty.
It's like a dessert in a glass.
No. You ready for Administrative Corner?
Oh, my goodness. I am not the only one who loves Administrative Corner.
We have 4 items on Administrative Corner this week.
What? No. Spits out drink. That's great. That's better than 3.
My goodness. Okay. So the first Administrative Corner, since you alluded to everybody else liking it, is because I tweeted an Administrative Corner item this week. So you guys, Twitter is doing this stupid thing. So we've had super followers on Twitter for like 2 years, and now they're called subscribers. And it's the same as Patreon. It's like literally the same content as Patreon. And like 4 or 5 times a week, we post like a bonus video or pictures, or like we'll occasionally do a live stream or a bonus podcast. It's the same stuff that we've been talking about for 2 years. And it used to just be like you didn't see any of that unless you subscribed on Twitter. And now fucking Twitter is like in the For You page showing like the beginning of those tweets and then going like subscribe to unlock, and like a bunch of people are legitimately mad because they're like, what the fuck, Golden Ratio, like why do I have to subscribe to like see your stupid tweets now?
We didn't do any of that.
No, this is all the stuff that's always been like the bonus stuff for the people who like want way more dog content. We're still posting all of the same stuff that we always have in exactly the same way. Twitter is just showing this like super confusing thing now that makes it seem like you have to subscribe to see our stuff. It makes me extremely mad. And so that's what that is. So if you see that, it's not that we're like charging for our content or anything. It's just keep doing what you've been doing, and you're going to see all the same stuff that you always have. We haven't changed anything.
That's right.
Twitter just like wants people to subscribe to stuff now because it's not making any money, and they're probably like, oh, we're going to make like $1 billion with people paying $4 a month to subscribe to dog content.
We would recommend you, if you really, this creates an itch that you need to scratch, maybe subscribe to Patreon.
If you're a subscriber on Twitter right now, like maybe switch over to Patreon. Like I get that some people just like to get all their stuff on Twitter, which is fine.
Yeah.
So kind of on that note, you know, everyone has been asking since Elon took over Twitter, and it has become a growing dumpster fire. Like, what other platform are you guys going to go to? Are you going to go to Blue Sky? Are you going to go to Mastodon? Are you going to go to Spoutable? Are you going to go to this thing? And like the answer is like, I'm not going anywhere until I figure out where everybody's going. And so far there hasn't been like a giant Twitter exodus, but Instagram is coming out with Instagram Text, which I don't think will probably be its final name. But
because it's a lame name.
But it's basically a Twitter clone. So you can post text where like on Instagram now you have to post a picture or a video. It looks, you know, the Instagram text looks just like Twitter pretty much. And they have a thing where you can basically import all of your followers. So like 100,000 Golden Ratio followers are on Instagram. There's actually a big overlap between the Twitter and the Instagram followers. And so I can just kind of like push a button, and everybody who follows us on Instagram then will also be following us on Instagram Text, which is like the whole thing, right? Like we set up a Mastodon and we have like 1,000 followers, which is like great, but like I'm not like adding to the workflow for 1,000 followers when we have like 160,000 on Twitter and 100,000 on Instagram. But like if I set up Instagram Text and then we immediately have 100,000 followers, like everybody's there. And so I predict like once that comes out, there will be a lot of people being like, well, I'm leaving Twitter because like as much as I like hate Facebook and their policies, like it's not like Twitter's better.
At least they have policies.
And they like do some moderation and like not awful, terrible, immature stuff. So I suspect in June, you know, we'll keep posting stuff on Twitter, but I suspect we're going to move over there. Instagram also has a subscriber option. We don't do Instagram subscriptions now.
Wait, there is?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's just like super followers or on.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but you can do it on Instagram.
I've never heard of this.
Yeah. I don't think it's very big, but like
No,
if they
apparently
do,
not.
if they do that and we shift our attention to Instagram text from Twitter, we will certainly set up subscribers there. So, you know, remains to be seen. I mean, there's issues with all of these Twitter clones that have come out, but, you know, hopefully the important thing is that they'd be able to support the same kind of conversation you can have on Twitter, right? Where you can respond with pictures and stuff. But
Goofy stuff.
anyway, we're not making you guys pay for anything, and screw Twitter for trying to imply that. So that's item number 1.
That's right. Why create anxiety? Life is hard enough.
Makes me mad. Okay. Item number 2. Episode 300 of the podcast is coming up. I believe we are currently recording episode 290. 200. This is episode 298 that we're recording right now.
Whoa. It's coming up really fast.
I know.
It'll be tomorrow.
Like, not quite, but
It'll be
close.
the end of this podcast.
I mean, we could quickly record 2 more podcasts.
We
and
might
then
have
we'd
already
be there.
passed 300.
So if you have ideas for anything that you want us to do interesting for episode 300, let us know. Otherwise, it'll just be the same.
There'll be no Spartan references, no references to the movie 300, nothing like that.
Except you just did.
Because it's funny.
Ingo has had a few drinks tonight, you guys.
Mm-hmm.
He's a little wound up.
I'm funny.
Item number 3. We had jury duty this week. Me and Ingo both got called into jury duty.
I'm not contributing anymore because apparently I'm all wound up.
And you have to have you have your juror number, which is like printed on the little thing that they send you.
It's awesome going to jury duty together with your wife. It's the best.
We both got dismissed pretty early. Ingo with like much hesitation, and me like, I think that excuse applies to me, and also I think this other excuse applies to me. And the judge was like, this chick really does not want to be here, and they let me go. Ingo didn't know if I was going to get let go, and he had more of a built-in excuse because if you're an attorney, you don't have to do
You're
it.
a practicing attorney in Florida.
So
True.
the judge asked if he wanted to be dismissed, and you could tell Ingo going like, but he was like, if Jen doesn't get dismissed, like no one will go home to the dog. So he said yes, and then he got dismissed, but I also got dismissed. You would love to have been on a jury.
Yeah. The next time, I mean, apparently it's a small jury pool. The next time I'll go, if possible. If it's not both, I mean, that's a downside of both of us, right? We can't both be on jury duty for a couple of days. But if I get to go without you and you're here, you know, to take care of the dogs for a day, that'd be fine. That's a good result for me.
Yes, I would be thrilled for you.
Everybody wants to, you know, critique the work of others, attorneys.
Anyway, you got to go and you got to check in. And then you're like referred to by your juror number. Mine was 567, and Ingo's was 163, and it's printed on the
Why do
little
you know this?
numbers stick in my head.
Yeah.
Names? No. Numbers? Yes.
Hmm.
Ingo's was 163, and it was on the little juror summons, which we brought with us. But Ingo was stressed out about that, so he wrote it on his hand.
I thought they were taking the summons away from us when we checked in.
He's in a
it was
full-
unclear. I was unclear about the process.
Full, well-tailored suit, shirt and tie.
I was the only one in there in a shirt and tie. In a tie.
Oh my God.
I don't think anyone was wearing a suit, but I was the only one in a tie.
Both. You were absolutely the most professional looking person in the entire building.
That was
Everyone's
weird.
like, are you an attorney? And he's like, yeah, but I'm here for jury duty. And they're like, huh, you sure do look like an attorney. And
Literally, in the elevator, people were saying that. It
And,
was
like-
a little weird, but I was fine with it.
with a pen on the palm of his hand, not only is he going to write 163's juror number, he wrote 167.
I was confused.
He wrote the wrong number on
So
his
I had
hand.
to cross it out.
I'm like, Ingo, I have paper with me.
I
And-
did enjoy the sort of... For me, it was like old school. For you, it was like 3-year-old
Yes.
method of reminding myself of something.
Oh my God.
Hmm.
So I would have gotten out of jury duty, one, because I've been summoned. This is the 4th time in the last year. I didn't have to go any of the other times. Like you call in, the Friday before and they're like, you don't have to come. So I think I would have gotten out for that. But also the last question is like, is anybody going to be out of the county tomorrow? Because there's one trial and it'll go into tomorrow. And I was like, well, technically I'm not going to be out of the county, but I am officiating a wedding in Key Largo. And I think that pushed it over.
I mean, that sounds very compulsory. People won't get married if you don't show up. That's a big deal. I mean, that's worth, excusing you. And these are the like excuses to get from 100 to like 90 people in the pool, and they needed 24.
24 jurors, and there were like
so they
100
were being
people.
pretty liberal with the excuses.
Yeah.
I've seen situations where it's a little tighter, and the judge is like, "Do you really need to miss it? Can you make it? I think you should come. It's a civic duty." This one, the judge was like, "It's fine."
Yeah, we really don't need all you guys. Everybody who like raised their hand, they were like, "Yeah, okay, it's fine, you can go." So anyway, I officiated a wedding yesterday.
That's right. I buried the lead there. You officiated a wedding.
Yeah, friends of the squad, Ty and Taylor, got married up in Key Largo, and they asked me like a year ago to officiate their wedding, and I said yes. And then like 2 months ago, I was like, I know somebody asked me to officiate their wedding, and if that was you, could you please tell me who it was? Because I didn't write anything down except officiate wedding real big on my calendar on that day.
You were searching your direct messages.
I was looking
You were
everywhere.
searching your emails. You were searching all the communications.
Fortunately, my little post worked.
It was good.
It was like, hey, that's me. So, so Ty and Taylor got married yesterday, and I was the officiant. And I showed up, and the wedding was supposed to be at 7, and I showed up, like 5:30. And they had like this whole little resort rented out, so it was just all their people there. And like someone comes out and like looked at me and looked like very surprised and happy, and I was like, "Oh fuck, am I late?" Right? And they're like, "Oh, thank God!"
They've
like
been looking for me.
the officiant is finally here. We wanted to do it earlier, or whatever. And then like somebody else comes out and like look kind of excited and happy, and I'm like, God, I'm so screwed up. Now they're all just like major friends of the squad. I thought it was just the bride. No, everybody on the bride's part of this
Knew who you were.
they're like, we love the podcast, you guys.
It's such good karma.
It was lovely. I had a really good time. It poured rain for like an
I
hour.
know, maybe it wasn't good karma for that. Maybe
It's supposed to be good luck if it rains at your wedding. But
Really?
It cleared up, and so we just kind of waited, and then it stopped raining, and then it was like a beautiful sunset little ceremony. Everybody got to sit outside. We did the thing, and
Did they kiss? Did they do that?
I got to tell them to.
Oh, that's good.
And then
That's
they
good.
did. Yep.
It's
No, it was great.
That's romantic.
Yep, it was lovely. I cry at every wedding, even for people I don't know. I'm just like a wedding crier, but I did not cry
Ooh,
at
you
this
could
wedding. I
maybe
kept it
get
to
hired
me.
to be a wedding crier.
I bet there are places that hire you to like be an emotional person.
We're not on the right coast for this. We need to be in LA.
So anyway, that was pretty cool. And everyone was just lovely, and I had a really good time talking to them. Oh, so here's a crazy story. So it's at this sort of resort, and I think like 35 people or something can stay there. There's like a main house that's clearly like a house that's been around for a while, and it's like at the end of this road in Key Largo. It like looks out over the Gulf, and then there's some other smaller houses, and I think they rent it out a lot for weddings because you can have your whole party stay there, but there's like a bunch of different spaces, so it's really nice. And in the main house, which is where we were waiting and everybody was getting ready, there's like a kind of front room, I guess, that's like round. So it's like the front door comes in there, and it's this big round room, and it has kind of like a peaked ceiling.
Round.
Round.
Like a tent? Like a yurt?
Kind of like a yurt, but it's like a room.
Weird.
Yeah, of a house.
Okay.
And on one wall is this like massive framed tapestry. The thing is like 7 or 8 feet high
Wow.
by 7 or 8 feet wide. A big
The
square.
whole wall.
The whole wall. Clearly like old looking Eastern European tapestry. And with like 4 women in it, and it's like full body, so they're kind of like human size. Their faces are like painted, and then but it's like 3-dimensional. So there's like it's not like sculpture, but there's like many layers of like fabric, like their hands where they're supposed to be wearing rings. There's like buttons sewn onto the hands
Wow.
for the rings. And, there's kind of like a background layer of fabric, and then like there's one of them's holding a baby, and there's like a little poof sleeve sticking out. And one of the women there came in. She's like, "So this is haunted, right?" And I was like, "This is 100% haunted. Like, this thing's fucking creepy."
Sounds like something out of like the movie Vlad, the Dracula. Like it's a Romanian castle.
It was kind of like that.
Yeah.
Exactly that vibe.
Yeah.
Giant, and I'm like,
and sinister.
yeah. And so we're like talking about like, what is up with this thing? It's not very Keynesian. Why is this here? And the photographer wanders in, and she's like, I can tell you guys about this because my family owned this property, and my uncle like traded this. I don't even know the whole story. Like there was this house, and my grandmother lived over here. Let me step back. So the photographer came in while we were getting ready.
Yeah.
And I was like, "Hey, are you like from down here?" And she's like, "Yeah." And I was like, "Oh, I live in Sugarloaf." And she's like, "Oh, how long have you been down here?" And I was like, "I bought a house in 2018." And I was like, "How about you?" And she's like, "I'm a conch." And I was like, "You're a conch."
What?
Yeah. She was born in Key Largo.
Wow.
So her family used to own this property that the resort is on, and the house that we were in used to be her family's house, like her grandma's house.
Man.
And or I don't know, one of the uncle's house, I guess. And I don't know, it was all very complicated. She even thought it was complicated. But she's like, we would go to my grandma's house for like Thanksgiving and Christmas, and this thing was in there. So we have like all these like family pictures like from growing up. And I was like, is it haunted? And she's like, I don't think it's haunted.
Oh, come on.
But so she's like, yeah, this was like a family thing. It just like went everywhere. And then when my uncle like came in, moved into this house, like this got moved in here. It was at the other house for a long time. And I was like, we need the story of this. She's like, let me text my mom. So she like texts her mom, like, bloop, bloop, mom, what's up with this? Remember this thing? What's up with that? And she's like, oh yeah, like your uncle got that because like somebody owed him money and like they traded it to him. The uncle sounds like a real crazy character who just like collected stuff and drove a hard bargain, let's say. And she's like, yeah, it's sort of Eastern European, and it's about a mistress. And then you look at it and clearly like one of the ladies is clearly like pregnant and holding her belly, and she's got like the real like downcast sad face and is like facing away. And then all the other three ladies, which is probably like the wife who's holding the baby, and then the wife's mom, and then maybe an aunt, are all giving like very disdainful like side-eye looks.
Oh my goodness.
Okay, you guys, I know everybody who is at the wedding is listening to the podcast. I did not take a picture of the tapestry. I can pull it off the website, but if any of you have one, like, please text it to me. Like, you have my cell phone number.
Do the eyes follow you around when you move? Is it that kind of thing?
Yeah, it kind of is like that.
Oh, it's totally haunted.
But I love that it's like we're all just like talking a little bit of shit about this thing, and she's like, "That's my family heirloom."
That's mine.
Yeah, and I grew up with that at Christmas and Thanksgiving.
That's my mom in there.
So anyway, the wedding was beautiful, and like it was right at sunset, right? Like we waited at sunset. They got to get all their pictures in with like the sun setting.
That's great.
And then it started raining again. But we had moved all the tables underneath like the little tiki hut, so I had to go home because like a 2-hour drive. I got home at like 10:30, but it was lovely.
Weddings are awesome. It's so optimistic and so like beautiful.
I
It's
love
so
a wedding.
nice.
Yep.
Yeah, it's so hopeful
Indeed.
and happy.
So there you go. That's Administrative Corner.
Wait, that's it?
Yeah, that's 4 items. We've been administrative cornering for like 20 minutes.
Oh, we should just make the whole podcast and call it Administrative Corner, and that makes me happy. Like, I don't care what it is, but you're fine. You're right. There is a dog update section. We should do dog updates.
Yes.
We should do administrative updates about the dogs. Okay, go ahead.
All right. Administrative Corner.
Man, I'm funny. I don't understand.
You really do think you're funny
You've
tonight.
got to have a drink. Catch up with me.
No.
I get funnier if you have a drink.
Mm.
And to all the listeners, if you have a drink, I am funnier.
Oh my God. You guys, this is sort of like
Always
what
true.
the Forbidden Pod was like, except we both had as much to drink as Ingo has had.
That's why I liked it. Why you were on the same side.
So
Anyway.
we thought we were way more entertaining than we are, kind of like Ingo thinks he is right now.
I'm not even going to respond to that.
All right,
Don't know what
dog
to say.
dog updates. You guys, there were so many escapos this week. There were so many.
With not having neighbors in the houses makes it It's not supervised, guys.
So our neighbor Wayne, who's the neighbor with the pool next door, called a few days ago, and he's like, Jen, could you please go look at my boat? Like, some repair guy was supposed to come take the prop off my boat. First, somebody was supposed to have taken the boat like a
That's
month
right.
ago.
Somebody told him he'd taken his boat to repair it.
Yeah, he texted me. This is like a month ago. He texted me. He's like, Jen, before I went to Maryland, is my boat in the driveway? And I'm like, I'm looking at your boat. I'm looking out my window and your boat's in the driveway. And he's like, damn it. Like,
That's
you know,
bad
the
news.
dude said he picked up the boat.
What a liar.
So for like a month, Wayne texts, he's like, is the boat still there? And I was like, the boat's still there. When we were in Maryland, our friends Simon and Joe were down here and they were like working at the house. I'm like, could you please tell me if the boat's in the driveway? And they'd be like, boat's there. And I'd be like, Wayne, the boat's there. So the boat's still there. And so he apparently like gave up on the first guy and got a second guy who is just going to take the propeller off the motor of the boat to fix it. And so he's like, the propeller guy said he got the propeller. Could you please go over and see if the propeller's on my boat? And I was like, sure, Wayne. And I was like, Wayne, I'm standing in front of your boat and the propeller is still there. It's nice and shiny.
Very shiny.
Yeah.
It was shiny.
While I was walking over there to do that, I was joined unauthorized by Vink and Guacamole.
I know. First Vink and then Guacaman.
Yep. Vink went in the pool. Guac ran around in circles. And so, fine. They are the normal escapers. Cut to the next day. They're in the house and Ingo's outside, like watering and taking care of stuff. Hopper's in the water, like watching her fish swim around. I'm moving stuff around. And I come down at some point and Ingo's looking a little bit frantic. And he's like, where's Hopper? And I was like, she is in the water. And he's like, she is not in the water. And it's like, how far could this 3-legged limpy dog
Yeah.
possibly have gone? Did she drown? Like, did she float away? How can we not find her? Like, where could she possibly have gone? And we looked all over the yard. We're running around. And I was like, she's got to be at Wayne's house. And she was in the pool at Wayne's house. Went around the fence, like over the big boulders that are in the way, and hopped across his yard into the pool all by herself in the pool. And she was so happy. She was literally swimming around in the pool when I walked over there.
Almost having cocktails. I mean, just
Yeah.
like that level of joy and contentment. This is the dog who was like, Meerf, 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 I can't get up and all. You have to pick me up. Meerf, Meerf, Meerf. Now, but when there's motivation, she's like, I'm gonna run a 100-yard dash, and then I'm gonna leap into the water. I'm gonna swim across to the other side. Yeah, she's selectively impaired.
So that was it. That's it. Hopper has been having a harder time.
Reset the clock to 0 though. 0 days.
Oh yeah, twice in a row, 0 days. So Hopper has been having a harder time getting around. The shot that they gave her at The Ohio State University, which was just a joint lubricant and steroid, really helped. It lasts 3 months on average. It's been 2 months, and so she's clearly on the low end of the average. So we took her in yesterday.
Yep.
To get another one, but it takes a little while to kick in, so she's still kind of sore. But I had told the subscribers and the Patreons, like, hey, Hopper's at the vet today, she's getting this shot, and I shared a little picture, and a friend of Squad Warrior Rabbit says it's like PB Blaster but for dogs, because it's like a joint lubricant, which I thought was very funny.
Penetrates and lubricates.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how much of a penetrant it is, but it definitely is a lubricant.
Yeah, side note, I love PB Blaster.
You use it on everything now.
Our can is almost empty. Oh, I've used it on everything. I use it on the rowing machine. Anytime there's rust, I'll just like glop some PB Blaster on there.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've noticed it, but
I have not. No, I didn't know you were using it on everything.
everything.
That's great.
Everything. Well, like the Husker for the coconuts, right?
Yeah.
It's like all rusty and stuff.
Yeah.
PB Blaster will keep it. Won't take the rust off, but it'll prevent it from rusting anymore because it penetrates and it lubricates.
Penetrates.
Yeah.
All right.
Stuff's great. If you ever need anything, I've used it on the chain for the gate.
I figured you used it on that.
Oh,
Yeah.
it's so good.
Okay.
So good.
We had a visitor at the GR household this week.
Yep.
Friday night, Simon and Joe's dog Niles came to visit us while they ran the Keys 100, and he stayed with us until late on Saturday night.
The good little dude.
He's great. I will say it did not go the best. Remy, of course, wants to eat Niles, and so we had to keep them separate. And then when Niles got here, Guac was like, fuck you, Niles. And Niles is like, no, fuck you. And they had a little bit of a tiff. No, nothing bad happened.
Everyone had big feelings.
So we had to keep both of the brown boys separate from Niles. And so, like, that was fine. I had Niles with me in my office while I was working. And then, we'd put, like, Remy out on the porch for a while. And Niles would be around the house. It was fine. And then I was like, okay, like, we're going to have Niles sleep in my office by himself. And, when I went to bed at, like, whatever, 1 in the morning or midnight, said goodnight to Niles, went to bed, and then at like 2:30, Niles is going, oh, and I was like, oh, poor Niles. And so I like went in, I see Niles have to go out, he doesn't. So then I put him in the crate, because apparently he sleeps in a crate. He had his little towel in the crate that like smelled like him. And that worked until like 4, and then he was howling again, and I was so tired. So I just like carried my pillow into my office, like took the cushions off my little chaise chair, and grabbed the blanket and like curled up in there. And Niles is like, great, this is all I wanted.
This is all I wanted. Thank you.
Curled up in a little ball right with me and was a great little bed sleeper. And then at like 8 o'clock, Ingo like bursts in because he'd heard something that he thought was Niles but was not. We were both asleep, and I was like, what do you want? And he's like, oh, sorry. But then it was time to get up. So Niles was great. The brown boys are not good with house guests.
No, we're still low on socialization here, buddies.
So we've learned a lesson, I guess.
They all like each other, but they don't know anything else.
Yep. All right, and then we have me having a drinking problem. My goodness.
Drink, then breathe.
Then we have the bad news of the week, which is CB's biopsy result came back for the lump on his mouth, and it is melanoma. So it was a black lump, and as soon as the vet saw it, she was like, "Ooh, I'm worried that that's black." And so apparently, like, dogs tend to get melanoma in their mouths, like on their gums, and then like on their mucous membranes, as opposed to like on their skin, like people do. So like it's not great. It's a very aggressive cancer. It is a kind of tentacly cancer that grows into the bone. And so there's a few ways that they treat it. Like they can do, I think they normally do radiation and not chemo. There's a vaccine, but it's like the lymphoma vaccine they have for people. Like you get that when you have the cancer, as opposed to like a preventative before. That from the reading I've done, like that vaccine doesn't actually seem to make a big difference with outcomes. So like you don't actually live that much longer if you're on it. But all of it, you have to do the surgery first. And from what Dr. Faith said, the surgery would be removing his mandible. So the jawbone on that side, they would take off. CB's going to be 13.
Take off half his mouth.
Yeah. And there you can find pictures of dogs, right? Some of them will have, cancers or other problems where they have to do that. Or they'll have an injury and they have to take part of it off. So they can live with it missing. But I'm like, no fucking way.
Oh, the recovery would be months, right? And it'd be like an open, I'd just be.
And he's 13, right? He's going to be
know,
13 in June. And like, I don't know, for us, like at that point, there's so many things that can go wrong with them, right? Like Goldens live to be like 10 to 12 normally. And so like you make it past 12, you're sort of in bonus time.
Yeah.
And all kinds of stuff happens at that point.
Mostly cancer with Goldens.
Yeah, and Brody would not be the kind of like stoic dog who's like, yeah, cool, like missing half my mouth now, that's fine. He would not.
No.
I mean, he has such a hard time anyway. So we really don't want to do that. I've talked to a few people who have done it and been like, I absolutely regret it, and a lot of other people who are like, yeah, I didn't. My dog had that cancer too, and we didn't do it.
Yeah.
I didn't hear from anybody. And hey, if you're one of these people, I don't want to hear from you who are like, oh yeah, we did it and it was great.
We're not looking for advice, as stated in writing before, actually. No offense, but no.
There are occasions where like golden ratio posts make it kind of far outside the normal golden ratio community, and people who don't follow us and kind of don't know how we like to interact suddenly are in our account. And like literally some fucking lady was like, what you need to do is give him CBD. And I'm like, you guys, I don't care if CBD made your dog immortal. I don't fucking want to hear another goddamn word about CBD. Do you know how many CBD tweets I have received in my life about the dogs? It's like 1 billion tweets about CBD. I literally have it blocked on some platforms. Like if you use the word CBD, like I don't see what you say because I'm so fucking tired of people telling me about CBD. It is like just like a cliche at this point. Like, oh, have you tried CBD oil? Oh, your dog died. Have you tried like rubbing him with CBD oil? And maybe he'll come back to life. I don't want to hear it. I don't care what it does. I don't care if it has changed your life. I'm happy for you and you can go celebrate with somebody else. I don't want to hear about it. And like fucking the first advice, when my tweet about CBD literally said, do not send advice. The first advice tweet I saw was, have you tried CBD oil?
Against cancer.
Oh my God.
That's tough.
You know what? Guys, if you're like CBD helps with cancer, tell somebody else. Don't tell us.
Tell the journal Science.
I don't want to hear it.
Nature would be
It's just
interested.
like all these people with all this fucking advice, and it's like they read one tweet. My dog has this cancer, and we're not doing the surgery. Here, the prognosis is 5 to 9 months, and then they presume like I have not like that's the entirety of like my information. Also, like I know way more than fit in that tweet, and I talked to the vet for like a long time, and like. I did lots of research and like I know what grade that tumor is and like you don't and like you're just gonna come in and like tell me what to do. No fuck those people. Very upsetting. I was doing a lot of blocking and then I lost it like on the second day and I was like listen because someone had like said some advice thing and then a regular follower was like, you know, she said no advice and whoever responded was like, I think she meant like no advice about treatments. And I was like, no advice about anything. And I just woken up and I was like, God fucking damn it. I hate it. I don't care if your dog is immortal. I don't want your advice unless I ask for it. I can't stand it.
Yeah. I mean, you said it. I mean, it wasn't like implied either. You kind of said it.
Advice. So anyway, back to Brody, which is the point here. So 5 to 9 months is the normal prognosis. Apparently, there's some evidence that if you put them on NSAIDs, so Medicam, Galliprant, I want to say methylcarbamol, that's not right. Carprofen. Yeah. Those may slow the growth of this. So we've started him on Medicam. Which he had been on before, and debulking it, which is essentially what we did with the surgery. She took most of it off. Also slows down the progression, but like she couldn't really get margins on it because it grows into the jaw, right? That's why they have to do this really aggressive surgery, which we don't want to do for him. So we'll see. You know, we have a pretty good track record of keeping dogs happy and healthy beyond their prescribed expiration dates.
Yeah.
But we'll see.
We tend to be very aggressive in terms of care and paying attention to things.
So now CB's getting whatever he wants, which lately has meant swimming a lot. We just let him, every time he wants to go swim, we're like, you know what, it's fine. You can go swim.
Yeah, it's fine. We'll rinse you off. It's fine.
Will he ever be dry again?
Who knows?
Good question.
He doesn't seem to mind.
No.
Right now, he's curled up in the dog bed sleeping. I mean, whatever.
Oh, he's so cute.
This is now the beginning of the rainy season here, and with that comes thunderstorms. So we had a rough night. The other night, not last night.
Yeah.
2 nights ago, and then today he's been all anxious too because it's been thundery.
And there's lightning outside. So
I
it's
know,
gonna
but
be
he's
rough
sleeping
today.
now.
Okay.
The more deaf he gets, the more better this is.
Yeah. Well.
Okay. But then there's Remy to goad him.
Are we ready for ramblings? I have a bunch of ramblings this week.
Do we have any other dog updates? We got Hobson, we got Brody, I guess.
We're done.
Everyone else is doing fine.
Okay.
We are done.
You remember the story that I told you about the guy who got pulled over in his car with 10,000 British pounds worth of drugs and a lamb?
Yeah.
And a package of chips?
Yes.
Okay, I have a lamb update.
Oh, yeah, good.
Lamb found in car with drugs worth 10,000 pounds on Scott's motorway, reunited with owner.
Oh, that's good.
Pablo had been discovered by stunned officers in the backseat of a car alongside 7,000 British pounds worth of cocaine and 3,000 British pounds worth of heroin.
Oh, now it's a mix of drugs.
And the package of chips.
Get your story straight. The
A lamb who was-
a £1.50 package of chips.
The lamb who was found by police in a car alongside the drugs has been reunited with its owner. Christy Mayer, 25, runs North Lanrig Farm near Motherwell, Lancashire, with her father, Robin, but only learned about the theft of her lamb when police officers showed up at her door. She has since named him Pablo after the Colombian drug lord Pablo Escobar. Pablo had been discovered by stunned officers perched in the back seat with a bag of chips after they stopped a car on the M74 near Glasgow.
It still makes it seem like the lamb was just chomping on the chips and mowing on the
Look
chips
at
in the
look
back
at the
seat.
lamb is absolutely eating the chips.
That's so weird.
There's a picture. Sniffer dog found the drugs.
Oh, maybe they thought the chips would
Here's the
distract
sniffer dog.
sniffer dog. Oh, hi, sniffer dog. He's got a tennis ball in this picture.
He's an extremely cute, curly, British-looking dog.
Yeah.
Miss Mayer said she had never seen a sheep stolen before. She added, he came a week or so early, so it was quite amazing that he survived in the first place.
I'm going to make lots of sweaters out of Pablo. With Pablo's
He had an
help.
ear tag,
Oh,
so that's how they were able to bring him home.
good job, British police.
Yep. She said she doesn't know how long the police had him, but it must have been 6 to 8 hours because he was looking, quote, floppy, like he had missed a couple feeds.
He ate a lot of
And
chips,
he was
lady.
starting to get cold.
Oh, he probably had beer and chips. I mean, the guy's, of course, he's going to be a little floppy.
Remy's now crawling up on Ingo because he heard
Remy,
the thunder.
did you hear the thunder?
Yeah.
Remoulade.
Pablo is safe with his new pet lamb pals. So there you go. Lamb update.
That's good. We
Uh,
missed Easter, but that's a great update.
this I'm not going to read this whole story. I just thought it was interesting that in Miami-Dade County,
Yep.
a guy stole a fire truck and took it on a police chase.
Oh, that's a
There's
genius idea.
Great footage of him on the turnpike.
You'll never get caught in a freaking fire truck.
He's going like meow, like 80 miles an hour in the fire truck, and then there's like, of course, like 100 cop cars behind
Of
him,
course.
lights all on. Yeah,
He didn't figure out how to turn his lights on, or else he could go.
Oh, they
faster.
were on. No, they.
Oh,
were
he
on.
did?
Yeah, they were on. He was going real fast.
Nice.
He crashed it, and then he was taken to jail.
I think it's safer if he's got all the lights on. I think I give him credit.
All right. This one was sent to us by friend of the squad, Sebastian. This is for you.
Okay.
German Greens suffer setback in Bremen local election.
Okay.
All right, hang on. I don't want to read this whole article because it's kind of like, hi, I see you. Yeah, okay. The German Green Party has endured another disappointing election night in the country's smallest state, Bremen, as voters voice concerns about the social consequences of green transformation projects.
Wow.
Their percent slid from 11.7 down to 5.6. But here's the main thing. A month before the vote, Bremen's Green Transport Senator Micah Schaefer had provoked local ire by scrapping the so-called bread roll button in one of the city's districts, a short-term free parking option at parking ticket machines designed to give locals just enough time to pop into a high street bakery
To get a Brötchen.
to get a Brötchen.
Der Brötchenknopf.
Yep.
Is that what it says?
It does not say anything in Auf Deutsch, which is why I was having trouble finding the paragraph. I was searching for it in German, but it's all in English.
Yeah.
The bread roll button. She got rid of the bread roll button, and then everyone was real mad. And then she stepped down
It's
and
very
retired from politics.
well. Good. That's tone deaf. People need their quality of life. They need to get their Brötchen. They just need to stop for 10 minutes, go to the bakery, be rudely treated by people who don't queue up, and then get their Brötchen.
Well, she's like, no, you have to pay for your parking for your Brötchen, I guess.
You know, I think that was politically probably robbing Peter to pay Paul or whatever it is.
All right.
Unwise. It was unwise.
Finally, I have this little piece. I don't think I wrote down who sent this to me, but this is good.
This is an epic. This is a great podcast, Jen. Just great. I'm just sitting over here marveling.
Excellent. The title of this article is Holland Township Taco Bell Employees Terrible, Horrible, No Good, Very Bad Day by Tess Ware of the Holland Sentinel.
Holland, Michigan?
Holland Township. It was 190 North River Avenue.
Michigan?
Listen, you will take the information that I give you and you will
Yes,
be
ma'am.
happy, content with it. Holland Township. Sunday, April 30th was a tough day for employees at Holland Township's Taco Bell at 190 North River Avenue. In incidents just over 15 hours apart, 2 separate customers were arrested after allegedly berating and threatening employees, according to police reports.
Yikes.
It started shortly after midnight when a man later identified as Jeremy with a heck of a last name,
Is that his name? With a heck of a...
Chang Kongsin.
Oh.
CHANKONGSINH. Ching Kong.
Sing.
Sing? No, it says INH. Anyway, Jeremy placed an order at the drive-thru. When he was informed that the restaurant doesn't serve Sprite, as Taco Bell carries Pepsi products, he allegedly began yelling through the intercom before proceeding to the drive-up window, getting out of his car, and punching the window and breaking it.
Oh.
According to a statement from a Taco Bell employee, Jeremy pointed his hand toward the window as if he were holding a gun.
Jeremy.
But because it was dark, the employee couldn't confirm he was armed. He then drove to the front door and began pulling on the handles, striking the glass, and gesturing as if he had a gun. Oh my God, Remy is like crawling all over us. All right. He's acting like he had a gun.
Does not sound like a nice man.
No. He finally left the Taco Bell and drove down River Avenue, but he didn't get far. The arresting officer, Andrew Nagelkirk, with the Ottawa County Sheriff's Office, described Jeremy's car as swerving and drifting within the lane and straddling the center dotted line. He didn't pull over when Nagelkirk used his lights and siren, but continued going 45 miles an hour and swerving in the northbound lane of 132nd Avenue.
So he was not driving fast, but badly.
Indeed. He eventually got pulled over, and he was yelling obscenities, threatening to fight officers, and telling them to shoot him.
I'll fight you. I'll fight you. And threatening to shoot with his finger guns. What a jerk.
Deputy John Mayer arrived with his canine partner, Titus, and warned Jeremy if he didn't comply, the dog would be deployed and likely bite him. Fuck you! Send the dog! I'll fight it off, and I'll fight everyone here, Jeremy responded.
Oh, did he send the dog?
Mayer took out his taser and informed Jeremy if he didn't comply, he'd be tased. When Jeremy didn't reply, Mayer tased him, but claimed it had no effect. He tased him again, still with no effect. At that time, another responding officer, Nick Forrest, tased Jeremy a third time, hitting him in the leg and groin. The third round of tasing sent Jeremy to the ground where he was handcuffed before being placed in Nagelkirk's vehicle. Nagelkirk reported Jeremy had, quote, a strong odor of intoxicants coming from his person, and that both of his eyes were watery and bloodshot. He allegedly refused to submit to a blood draw, so Nagelkirk obtained a warrant. Jeremy was taken to Zeeland Community Hospital for the blood draw and to have a taser probe removed from his genitals. That line is mostly why I selected this story for you. I knew you'd like that. Jeremy was lodged into the Ottawa County Jail on charges of damage to business property, operating while intoxicated, flee and elude, resisting and obstructing, and habitual offender fourth offense notice. He posted bond and was released May 4th. Later the same day.
That's right. That wasn't even the worst thing that happened in that Taco
That was the
Bell in
first
that
one.
one day.
Later the same day, around 3:21 p.m., a customer named Edward Galvin visited the same Taco Bell with his sister and her 2 children. According to the report, Galvin was allegedly lurking inside the store
Lurking.
and placing small orders. An employee told Galvin he wasn't allowed on the property due to issues in the past, not included in the report.
Lurker.
The employee said Galvin asked to be refunded since he hadn't received his food. While processing the refund, Galvin allegedly began yelling at the employees and threatening to harm them. Citing witness statements, the report says Galvin ripped a card reader off the counter and threw it at an employee who was struck in the head. He
Aw.
then ripped a second card reader from the counter and started swinging at another employee before being tackled to the ground and held down until police arrived.
Jeez.
Several Taco Bell employees provided witness statements, including one that said Galvin bit her.
Oh, here we go. Did she ask to be bitten?
She
no,
did
she did
not.
not.
Galvin's sister said she took the children outside when Galvin started arguing with the employee, and when she returned, she saw her brother being held down. In her statement to police, she said she began yelling at the employees to just refund them the money so they could leave, but the employees allegedly refused. According to the report, Galvin said his order wasn't filled because some equipment wasn't functional. He said when he requested a refund, the store manager refused, and that's why he destroyed 2 credit card readers.
There's a real timing issue. The equipment wasn't functional after you threw it around, buddy.
Galvin was charged with destruction of business property, as well as 3 counts of assault, and was lodged into the Ottawa County Jail. He posted bond and was released May 1st. According to court records, Jeremy will be arraigned in Ottawa County Circuit Court on Monday, June 5th.
So everyone can come watch.
A schedule was not immediately available for Galvin.
Everyone can come watch.
And the Sentinel was informed a number of employees were terminated following the second incident, but several inquiries to Taco Bell's communication teams were not immediately returned.
Taco Bell, they've had a rough day. They're going to be real jumpy after that first thing.
Seriously, and then the dude was like throwing shit at them.
And biting.
Yep. And biting.
And biting.
So anyway, there
Come
you
on.
go. There's
Be nicer.
Taco Bell story.
Reinstate everyone who was working that day because it was a rough day.
And give them a bonus. Like if you get robbed, you work at a bank and you get robbed, you get a bonus.
Something gets smashed in your head or you get bitten, you should get a biting bonus.
Biting bonus.
Yeah.
Are you ready for Taste of the Keys?
Yes.
Speaking of biting.
Bring it on. Wait, yo, I didn't know it was speaking of biting.
This is from the AP Dateline Summerland Fla. Summerland Key. A shark in the Florida Keys bit the foot of a fisherman who had reeled it in, sending the man to the hospital. 35-year-old man was fishing off a dock in Summerland Key when he caught a shark Friday night. While it was on the dock, it bit him in the foot. The angler was flown by trauma helicopter to a hospital in Miami. His condition was not known on Saturday.
Maybe don't pull anyone out of the water unless they ask you to.
Seriously, you guys. When our neighbor, Wayne, caught a shark, and he called us to like come over and help
That was
him
like
net
a
the shark.
4-foot shark. Yeah.
That shark was on the dock, and I was like, this shark 100% could bite my foot if I'm not
There
careful.
could be 100% be biting.
That shark, we put it back in the water. I was a little
Yeah.
sad he caught it in the first place.
It was hard to get the hook out.
Yes, it was. And there was another old hook in there.
Yeah, that's right.
got
It was de-hooked twice.
Anyway, the shark went back, and he's probably been caught like 5 more times. He seemed dumb.
I know, but the first headline I think that we saw about this was shark attack in Summerland Key. But if you pull the shark out to your dock and put it next to you and it bites you, that's self-defense, man. That's not an attack. That's not a shark attack. That's a shark biting incident.
I agree.
Yeah.
Time for
Just saying.
German word of the week.
Yeah, it's not as, nothing spicy this time. We said Sommerurlaub,
Yeah.
which is summer
Vacation.
although the big thing in Germany is Sommerferien. German schools do not have the long summer vacation that Americans have.
Mm-hmm.
It's like 3 months.
To
they'll
help
have
with
like
the farm.
they'll have like 3 or 4 weeks, and it's I don't know why, but it's different for every federal state. So Bavaria has their summer vacation, and Rhineland-Palatinate has theirs, and Berlin has their own schedule.
Like spring break here.
Spring break, but the Germans, I mean, when they have time off, they go somewhere. Many of them, right? They like will travel. So it used to be, and maybe it's a little bit different now, but it used to be like the night before the Sommerferien in Bavaria, there'd be just Stau everywhere going south because everyone's like going to Italy.
Stau is a traffic jam.
Yeah, or in maybe in the areas near Holland, there's Stau going west because everyone wants to go to the beach in Holland. I mean, it's just like everyone decides to do the same thing at the same time on the same road, and then you have like this 2-hour traffic jams and stuff, and it's just because you can't waste a day of Sommerferien.
Yeah.
You can't like wait 3 days. You have to max it out completely. It's very almost scheduled.
Yeah.
So that's Sommerferien. Sommerurlaub is holiday, but Sommerferien is like the summer break.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. There you go.
You got anything for Ingo Corner?
No, I think it's nice that you got to officiate a wedding.
Me too.
And it's a nice sign of community that everyone knew who you were and likes you. That's nice.
Indeed.
Yeah.
All right, everyone. Well, thanks for listening. And until next time, Slava Ukraini. And don't bite anyone unless they ask you to.
Never ends well.
Bye.
Bye.